California is currently battling with a myriad of problems that seem to be swallowing it up and leaving it with no space to breathe. With practically half the population living on the streets, crime activities chasing business owners out of the city, and fentanyl crisis making people drop dead every minute, the city is headed for self-destruction. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you just how California is headed for doom. California is known as the Golden City, although golden is hardly what you would call a city that now looks like a dump yard, thanks to the overabundance of motorhomes. Thousands of Californians have found the perfect solution to their homeless situation, and that is the conversion of recreational vehicles into permanent homes. These RVs are mostly beyond repair. They do not work and just serve as a structure where people live. RVs can be seen everywhere and anywhere around California, on residential streets, in industrial parks, near high schools, and church parking lots. I'm going to show you shortly how this development is causing serious health and safety concerns to the good people of California. California is a pretty expensive place to live in. The price of housing is especially where the high rate of living is felt the most. Exorbitant rents force families and full-time workers to live on four wheels. So let's get this clear. Most people living in motorhomes look no different from people living in normal homes when you see both in the mall, for instance. They've got jobs and they don't have drug or alcohol or psychiatric problems. They just can't afford the rent for a decent home. A situation where more than 30% of a person's monthly income goes for paying rent. That's a precarious one. Any slight disturbance to that income will mean inability to keep up with rent. And that's just one of the ways people end up on the streets homeless. Or if you're lucky, you get a motorhome. An ironic thing here is the fact that people who reside in these structures do not consider themselves homeless. Why would they though? For one, they pay rent monthly for their vehicles. There are motorhome landlords who buy these vehicles from dump yards and they act like every other landlord. They rent out everything from bunk beds to box trucks to people who earn far more than minimum wage, harassing tenants to pay up on time and even burning down the vehicles at times. 2. Occupants pay security fees in the form of protection money. And 3. The vehicle meets their pressing need for having a place to stay with a roof over their heads. With these, they don't consider themselves homeless. The fact remains that this alternative RV encampment, like so many others across Los Angeles, has evolved over the last years into what can only be called a community. The people look out for each other. Yes, it is a brilliant alternative people have come up with to solve their housing problems. But what problems does this cause for the general public? Let's find out. As expected, the living conditions of inhabitants of motorhomes are way below standard. Everything from trash and unsanitary conditions to illegal dumping of waste is a cause of serious concern to the health of the public. Parked campers in residential areas are eyesores that bring down the value of their suburban communities. The environment where these cars are moved begins to look untidy. More serious is the waste concern. Hoses can be seen coming out from RVs into the gutters or simply out on the streets. These wastes are intentionally deposited into storm drains, where their final destination is the Santa Monica Bay. About 90,000 gallons of waste come from these homes in a day. How exactly is the government dealing with this? You'll learn just how in a few minutes. Waste heading down to the beach increases the bacterial activities in it, and pretty soon, we'll be unable to go to the beach as often as we like. Already, there are restrictions on overnight camping on our lovely beaches. They can take more from us, you know. But really, seeing people desecrating a place you live in can be traumatizing. Some RV renters have no culture of sanitation as they urinate and defecate on public sidewalks and private property. Another concern motorhomes raise is the drug problem. We'll be diving deeper into parents waking up to the news of their child's death from counterfeit drugs right after this. Needles, which are a telltale sign of drug use, can be seen littered around areas where motorhome owners stay. This creates an unsafe feeling around campers who are exhibiting mental ill behaviors. Of course, any responsible parent will be wary of raising a family in such a place with the prevalence of drug-related crimes and deaths. Other less serious concerns are that locating good parking spots becomes difficult for employees and residents, and the reduction of the aesthetic of the neighborhood. Now let's see how the government is reacting to this homelessness problem. The quick answer to this, the government isn't doing as much as it should. Maybe it honestly can't do so much. You tell me. If you're enjoying this video, Please let me know in the comments section, as it would mean a lot to me. Also, what do you think about the homeless crisis in California? Alright, getting rid of motorhomes is much more expensive than you think. This is why they remain in junkyards and are quite cheap to repurchase. If the government wanted to get rid of these vehicles, there aren't enough trucks capable of removing such large vehicles. Where would they be stored? There's not enough space to store them, and more importantly, there's not enough money to pay for it all. You see that this is a problem the government wouldn't be too inclined to solve. There are much more challenging problems, like how to stop drug sellers from selling fentanyl unknown to drug users, thereby causing teenagers and adults to lose their lives. A topic we'll look into shortly. Yeah, it isn't easy to find the owners of RVs because the occupants are merely renters, making towing a legally dubious decision. And searching the vehicles would need search warrants because these people have rights to privacy as much as any other individual with their more decent home. A way to stop people from living in these places is to begin working on initiatives to get local governments to approve and plan for affordable housing and make it easier to plan for developers who want to build housing to do so. Or the government could take it as a challenge, persuading people to give up their RVs for demolition. That could happen by offering to pay a lump sum for the vehicles or by wiping out parking tickets and warrants. Now let's look at how fellow Californians are consciously killing off fellow citizens with the use of fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is 80 to 100 times stronger than morphine. That is some really powerful drug. This drug was developed for the pain management treatment of cancer patients, but because of its powerful opioid properties, fentanyl is now abused. Fentanyl is added to heroin to increase its potency and then passed for being just a potent heroin. Many fake pills created to look like legitimate prescription medication contain dangerous and sometimes deadly amounts of fentanyl. Lack of jobs has made jumping into crime seem like a viable option for Americans. You'll learn in a minute how your favorite stores are packing up and leaving the state to places where crimes are less common. So these counterfeit pills are easy to purchase and widely available. This has made innocent users of prescription medications lose their lives. Not one parent, but hundreds have been hit with the news of losing a healthy and vibrant child. Adults too are not left out. Overdoses of more than 2 million people since the beginning of May have been reported. Across the state, 1 in 5 deaths of Californian teenagers and young adults ages 15 through 24 are tied to fentanyl. Findings on multiple cases of drug overdoses on seemingly normal drugs have all revealed the existence of fentanyl. The government is currently under pressure to take decisive action on the production and sale of this drug. Whatever they decide is going to be tough one way or the other. Cancer patients need the drug to cope with the pain. If the homelessness and drug crisis don't send Californians fleeing the state, crimes definitely will. Not just petty crimes, but violent crimes are what we'll be discussing right now. Enjoying this video? The algorithm thinks you'll love the next one. Raising prices, hiding merchandise in locked cases, and hiring security guards are some ways store owners are dealing with the situation. The response of the police to citizens' cries of distress is not encouraging, and this has made them resort to self-defense. The police would be glad to give their all to solving this problem, but they're giving it all already. They're awfully understaffed with insufficient equipment. In the absence of state protection, drastic measures have been taken by shop owners to protect their wares. Sometimes it gets too much. Getting hit more than 12 times a week can test anyone's patience. That's a lot of money honest people are losing to criminals at the expense of their lives. These criminals have injured and sometimes killed store owners who try to resist them. When the tables flip and store owners injure or kill the perpetrator, the law finds fault with the act. With such unfavorable circumstances, many businesses have decided California isn't the right place for them, closed up and left. The economy isn't any better as this happens. Well. California has got a lot on its plate. The embarrassing homelessness problem tells badly on the economy of the state. Affordable housing options should be made optional. Access to mental health and substance abuse treatment has to be available. More jobs need to be created as well. These are only a few solutions to California's problems. If you have more, let's know in the comments section.